I was talking with a startup solopreneur not long ago, and I was so impressed with this young woman. She is doing great. She's got a very clear idea of the business she's trying to build. She's got the talent and the sheer force of will to make it happen. She's got good business sense. But as we were talking, she casually mentioned, I've been working so hard to fix myself. And for me, everything came to a screeching halt the minute she said that. Fix myself? Really? This is such a common fallacy. And maybe you feel this way too, like you need to fix yourself or fix your surroundings before you can move forward, before you can succeed, maybe before you can be happy. Today, I have one message for you. You do not need to fix yourself. And in today's show, we are going to unpack exactly what that means. Welcome to the Solopreneur Life Podcast. I am your host, Kathryn Aragon. Learn what it takes to build and scale your own business so you can enjoy the freedom and flexibility that comes with the Solopreneur Life. Take a minute now to subscribe to the Solopreneur Life Podcast wherever you listen so you don't miss a single episode. Our first segment today, our first point that I really want to dive into is just this. You are enough exactly like you are. It doesn't matter that there are problems you're dealing with, that maybe there are challenges in your life, maybe things that like you really don't deal with that other people don't deal with. And listen, I get that. I have really had to work hard to build a business from bed over the last decade. So if you're talking about like having to overcome, I get it. I've been there myself. I know other people who are paralyzed, who have family issues, who had a massive divorce or some kind of financial issue. I know people who are $100,000 in debt and still built a successful business. The truth is, you don't need to wait until you resolve those problems to be able to succeed as a solopreneur. You can start your business. You can move forward. You can do whatever you want to do because the truth is you are enough already. You don't need to fix yourself. Now, does that mean you should just be okay with whatever's going on and let it stop you? By all means, no. We are not talking about giving in to your circumstances. What we're talking about is being willing to look at that challenge in the eye and say, I see you and you're not going to stop me. Listen, this is your business. This is your life and you can do whatever the hell you want. And that's the honest truth. Let's look at health problems. This is something I've struggled with quite a bit in my life. But here's the deal. I am out of bed. I'm no longer housebound. I am actually getting around. I've regained quite a bit of strength. But over the last decade, I've dealt with paralysis. I've dealt with cancer. I've dealt with quite a few issues. And all I have to do is slow down on days when I'm feeling physically challenged. For years, I worked from bed, and every morning someone in the family had to bring me my computer because I couldn't lift it. I couldn't get out of bed to get it. And they would set it on the bed beside me, and I put a portable keyboard across my lap and touch typed, just looking over at the monitor of the laptop beside me. That's how I worked for 4 years. For another 3 years, I upgraded to a chaise lounge, and I had pillows propped around me, helping to hold me up while I got used to being a little bit more upright. Before long, that wasn't a challenge. It was just so comfortable. It felt really good on my back to be working there. But this last year, I was like, you know what? I think I can move to my desk. And I did. I've successfully moved to my back, but I keep pillows. And on off days, I work on the sofa. There are so many ways I make concessions. If I just listen to my body. And that's something that you can do. If health problems are your issue, You know what you're dealing with. You know how to overcome them. So create your own workspace. It doesn't have to look like an office. You can work from wherever and whenever you need to work in order to get your job done, in order to build your business. And that's acceptable. In fact, that's one of the reasons we become solopreneurs, is to have that level of flexibility. Same thing with financial problems. So what if you only have $100 in your bank account? So what if you're $100,000 in debt? You can start a solopreneur business on a shoestring and still be a massive success. You do need to learn how to manage your money. I'm going to put that out there, because let's face it, you're going to be building a lot of business skills. So managing your money is just one of those skills. And never let the amount that you need to learn slow you down. You don't have to know it all before you get started. I once coached a man who had created this long sheet, and it was fine print, all the different things he felt like he needed to learn before he could actually go out there and confidently tell people, I'm here, you can hire me. Oh my goodness, we do not need to do that. You are going to learn all those skills over time. That's just built into it. You start where you are. Whether your problem is health or finances, or let's say you have social anxiety and the idea of selling yourself just gives you a heart attack. That's okay too, because guess what? You can market your business however works for you. You are in control. You can work the way you want to work, when you want to work, how you want to work. It's all yours, and it doesn't have to look like anything else. We as solopreneurs are a little bit weird, and we don't fit into the system. And that's kind of a challenge at times, but guess what? That's where our freedom lies. The very thing that makes us different is the thing that works for us, that we need to tap into to create a business that's unique to us. Now, it is so much easier to think, oh, I'm just not there. I'm just not good enough. Why? Because that's our cop-out. If we fail, we can always point back to this moment that we said, yeah, but see, I can't really go there because I have this challenge. Guess what? You are giving yourself an escape clause. And honestly, if you want to succeed, you can't do that. That's the worst thing you can do. One of the things, they talk about jumping off a cliff, and, it's just like you got to just dive into the deep water kind of a thing. And there's a little bit of truth to that. I mean, but it takes trust. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, but you have to believe in your ability to build wings as you are soaring through the air off that cliff, or to learn how to swim once you're in the water. There is a little bit of, yeah, I know this is dangerous, but you know what? I got it. You have to believe in yourself. You do need just a smidge of confidence. And it doesn't have to be a lot, because you are going to develop confidence as you go. Here's my thing. This is like a syllogism, if you think about it. You won't develop confidence until you start succeeding. You won't start succeeding until you start doing business. So don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Just go. Just start. Here's the deal. You have got to start your business regardless of how qualified you think you are, because guess what? Self-doubt is going to get you every time. Those escape clauses, you're going to walk into them every time you get scared, every time you feel uncertain. You're going to quit. And if you really care about your business, it's worth fighting for. So don't give yourself that out. Decide, I got this. I can do this. I will figure out my health issues, finances, social anxiety. I will figure this out, and there are people out there who can help me. And you know what? If you need somebody else to believe in you while you're developing your own confidence, I can do that for you. There are people out there who can support you and help you. It's one of the reasons I started the Hub. At Solopreneur Life, I will hope you will go and visit. Go to the products page and look at the hub. The hub is where all of us solopreneurs, we're off doing our own thing, working in our cave, building our own unique business. But we all need that support group, don't we? We all need other people who understand what we do and believe in us. The hub is that center point where we all come together, where we can network and ask for help and learn from one another. And it is such a valuable community because, trust me, we are all in the same boat. We are all dealing with some degree of anxiety over some flaw that we see in ourselves. But you don't need fixing. That's what I want to leave with you. We all have flaws. We all are working to improve ourselves. We're all working to be a little less weird, right? But you don't need fixing, because just as you are a successful human being. You are perfect, just like you are. And you are perfect enough to start your business. So don't let that slow you down. Don't get so caught up in, I'm not there yet, that you never get there. It's so critical that you believe in yourself. Now, at this point, we really need to dig into confidence, don't we? Confidence is that belief that no matter what happens, you can manage. And we talk a lot about the imposter syndrome and self-doubt and things like that. And this is where that stuff comes into play, because those things, as we just discussed, can be an escape clause. They can be our excuse for quitting or for falling short. I had this habit for the longest time of avoiding the one thing I cared about most. And I don't think I'm the only person who did this or who does this. I, from the time I was little bitty, wanted to be a writer. And so, of course, I graduated from school with honors. I got a nice scholarship to a good university. I studied English to be a writer. And guess what I did when I graduated? Did I get a writing job? No. Did I start writing a novel? Yeah, I did, but I gave it up because it was bad. Well, guess what? What I didn't understand at that time was first drafts are always bad. But I didn't really trust myself to be able to take it from bad to good. Trust, confidence in yourself. We get jobs because we don't trust ourselves to be able to create our own money. We get jobs because we want someone else to have the headache of earning the money and just pay me. I want you to support my living so I feel safe. As a solopreneur, you are actually breaking away from the norm. You are saying, I trust myself to do this, and I'm going to do it my way. That is such a cool thing. That's such a big step. It's a step from depending on everybody else, from depending on the system to keep you happy and healthy and moving. Trouble is you can't move out of it. You get locked into the way things are, and you're just like a pawn on a chessboard. You get moved around and you're just reacting. Other people around you make a move and you are just reacting to those moves. The pandemic hits, you get fired. Oh, woe is me. I better go look for another job. You get a job and you're like, oh, great, this is awesome, but I can only do what I'm told to do. I can only move where they move me. If I get a promotion, great. If I get a raise, great, but I'm not in control. As a solopreneur, you're saying, I got this. I can do it. And do you know how much confidence that takes? Kudos to you for stepping into that and believing in yourself. But here's the thing, we still, even after taking that step, we'll go right up to what we really want and we won't really go there. And do you know why? Here's why. Because if you try and fail, then you feel like a failure. The thing of it is, the thing you want most is the thing you will most avoid. Now, there are some big gamblers and they've learned how to go whole hog towards what they want. Great. But you know what? We all need to do that. I've been talking with a lot of solopreneurs lately who they've done that. It's like, well, this is what I really want, but you know what? I'm going to go right here next to it where I feel kind of successful and I can see that thing that I want, but I'm really not going to push to get that thing. I would challenge you always to go bullseye, go straight for the thing you want. It is the biggest gamble in the world. But guess what? Everything is a gamble. You get a job, you're taking a gamble. Will you be happy there? Will you actually succeed? Or, as some people I know, will you actually get demoted over time? I've seen people whose careers took a step backwards because they took a job. Will you build your own business? Well, that's a gamble too. I love these little memes of the road to success. What you think it will be is this straight line from here to there. What it really is, and there's this line drawing of a scribble, and it's just this mess, up, down, around, back, forward, and then finally you get there. Well, that's what the gamble is. You're building your own business, kind of feels like that. It feels like there are a lot of little steps backward, but at the same time, because you're in control, you can keep things moving forward or change gears. And that brings me to another thing. That's the other gamble. Rebranding or changing the focus of your business. It feels like I'm leaving the known behind me and I'm moving towards something that's totally unknown. Can I do it? That's the question, right? As a solopreneur, you have got to be comfortable with uncertainty. Actually, if you're alive, if you're breathing, you should be comfortable with uncertainty. But the truth is, as solopreneurs, we are in charge of our future. We're in charge of every aspect of our lives. We're not necessarily depending on anyone else. Now, yes, we create partnerships with our clients and with other solopreneurs who maybe we build a business together. But we've got to be really comfortable with uncertainty because things can change on a dime. And you've got to know that you can handle it. The solopreneur journey is a little bit like my camping days when I was growing up. Let's say you've got a map or you kind of know there's a trail in front of you, but it's dark. And you've got a flashlight that will only illuminate one step in front of you at a time. So you have to take that step and be watching the ground, shining that light in front of you one step at a time. You're going to move along that path. You'll eventually get where you're going, but let's say there's a rock in the path or a log has fallen across it. You've got to step over, or maybe that path actually leads to a cliff. You won't know it until you get there, but the truth of the matter is you have no idea what's in front of you. You've got the map that says this is a good path, but what if the map is wrong? See how uncertain that feels? And that's a scary thing. I know so many people who they absolutely think we're crazy for running our own show. But I tell you what, I think they are crazy for depending on everyone else, because who are their bosses looking out for? Them. None of us has some person out in the world who's just, their mission is to take care of us. Once we became adults, we took on that role. And as a solopreneur, we're stepping into the fullness of that. Yes, we may only see one step ahead, but in our heads, we've got the entire path mapped out. We know what the milestones are. And if we miss a milestone, we know something's up. Okay, so what's wrong with my map? What path should I be on other than what I am on? Do I need to pivot? Do I need to shift gears? Or do I just need to confidently move forward? Those are the things that we deal with. And it is uncertain. But guess what? It's also an adventure because we get to take it wherever we want. The secret is to take calculated risks. We're not really gambling with something we don't have, that we don't think we can handle. So every time I'm looking at a situation where I've got, let's say, a choice between two things or this massive decision in front of me. Here's kind of how I analyze it. I start with, okay, what's the best case scenario? What will happen if this succeeds? And I look at everything that could be. Okay, do I like that? Sounds exciting. Okay, now let's back up. What's the worst case scenario? How could this impact me financially, business-wise? How could it hurt me in any way? And I go all the way in looking at what could go wrong to the best of my ability. Now I ask myself, how will I handle that? Because remember, that scribble on the map from here to there, that scribble, see, sometimes the line goes backwards. Sometimes the line goes down. Sometimes there are failures and mistakes. So the question isn't, how can I avoid those mistakes? The question is, how will I handle it? And then if you really want to do, just take this a little bit further, calculate the odds. Give the odds of success a number from 1 to 10. Give the odds of messing up another number, 1 to 10. Do you have a better chance of succeeding than failing? Are there more chances of failing than succeeding? Calculate the odds. Look at what really could happen if you move forward on this adventure. And then ask yourself, can you live with it whichever way it goes? Sometimes it's worth the risk. Actually, most times. Many, many times, the good outweighs the bad. And the reason is because you can handle those negative things. Well, if this mistake happens, I can do this. I can reach out to these people. They'll introduce me. I can get more clients. If I'm trying to pivot my business, but I'm not closing the existing business. So yeah, I can handle a mistake. You see, you're just analyzing the entire thing. You're looking at the big picture as well as the details, and that allows you to make a calculated risk. And that's worth it because the good so often outweighs the bad. Do you trust yourself to turn things around? That's the question. Even the most successful solopreneurs in the world experience doubt. They hesitate. They worry. They make mistakes. They lose money. They gamble. Nobody knows for sure what tomorrow will bring. I started my business, and 1 year later, I got a spinal cord injury that should have just totally knocked me out. If I had had a job at that time, I would have been put on disability and probably never hired again. But here's the thing, I had started my own business 1 year earlier, and I wasn't going to fire myself. And I remember sitting in bed thinking, okay, this might be it. This might be your life for the rest of your life. Can you live with this? And how can I make it better? That's what you got to ask yourself. How can I make this better? And as long as you're willing to ask those questions, you don't need fixing. You just need confidence. Remember, uncertainty is part of the game. Mistakes are part of the game. You just have to accept that and then play the game for real. So go all in on your solopreneur business. Go ahead and run it. Don't hesitate. Don't hold yourself back, afraid of doing the thing you most want to do. If you don't take anything else away from today's show than this, I want you to hear me loud and clear. You are enough. You do not need fixing. You are never going to be perfect. And that's okay. Because just like you are, with all your weirdness and quirks and flaws, you are going to be fine. Don't forget to subscribe to the Solopreneur Life Podcast wherever you tune in. And visit us at thesolopreneurlife.com. That's where you can learn about the hub, and I hope you will come and join us. Then come back next week for another smart episode of the Solopreneur Life Podcast. Until then, stay awesome.